What's going on, guys? Army-Firedawg is back again. How have y'all been? Today I unfortunately finally have to have the review video for you of Meze's flagship headphone, and that is their $3,000 Empyrean headphone. As I said, this is their top of the line, their in-game piece, and from my 2 weeks with it and very extensive listening, in my opinion, not to ruin the rest of the review, but it very much so lives up to those claims. But, as always, I like to start with the construction of said product, and then I'll work my way down from there. So, the construction of the Meze Empyrean headphone is that of absolute beauty. As you can see here, the framework is CNC machined with aluminum, a solid piece of aluminum, and the headband is actually carbon fiber. That way it stays very light, but also it's very rigid and it's strong, it's very firm. The headband is made of real leather, and it's concaved, I think is the right word, in a way that it very well distributes the weight, and I'll touch on that more in the comfort setting next. The adjustment is that of a very smooth cylindrical system, as you can see right there. So regardless if you're a big head like myself or a small head such as my wife, you more than likely are going to be able to comfortably fit these on your head, and you can adjust this while it's on your head. The best way to do it is when you put it on, just go ahead and hold these two right here, and then push down. If you got to go down, and if you have to go up, hold right here, and then you'll push up from the bottom. That's been the best way to adjust them while they're on their head, so you can really narrow in on which area is most comfortable for you, but again, I will touch on that next. The cups themselves can actually swivel on a full 360 degrees. It does not lock, but as you're seeing here, it does kind of, like if you're picking it up, it does like to kind of twist and bend. That's not necessarily a negative, but something that's kind of gets irritating, especially when these keep twisting and can, and sometimes do, overly twist the aux cable that comes with them. Moving down from there, the ear pads themselves are very easily detachable, as in you literally just pull them right off. They use a magnetic base, so they just fit right on, and then voila, you've changed your ear pad. On the note of the ear pad, these come with two. They come with the real leather ear pad, and they come with my personal favorite, the Alcantara pad, which is a very soft cloth that, well, like I said, it's personal preference, but I really like the Alcantara cloth. I like the comfort level of those. Continue downwards, as I'm sure you've noticed, but the cables are detachable. That is a huge thing. It's becoming more and more common or standard at this point, but definitely something I'm very glad to see on a $3,000 product. On the note of the cable that comes with it is the standard, however, very robust, this default cable that you can see here, or the zoom up close pictures that you should see on your screen right now. And the one that came with this is terminated in a 3.5mm jack. However, when you're ordering the headphones from the website, it gives you a drop down menu of which termination you want. In relationship to, you get the 3.5mm, 6.3mm, or balanced XLR adapter. Now, towards the bottom, you also get the option, if you were to so choose, if you don't want or want a better quality cable than the standard, you can upgrade to, for $349, the copper cable, which is the one that I used for the vast majority of this review because I only had either a balanced option or a 6.3mm. Or, for $499, you can upgrade to their top tier cable, and that is for the silver cable. Now, I was unable to utilize this cable during my review because at this time I do not have anything that takes, or accepts rather, an XLR headphone input. So I was unable to test this, but they do have a very nice, very, very thick silver cable. Now, moving on to the headphones' comfort. So as I touched on earlier, these headphones are very, very comfortable. The concave design of the headband distributes the weight in such a way that regardless of how long you have it on your head, it just, though it doesn't quite disappear, because they do have some weight to them, it never once, at least during my several times 6-hour plus sessions, got uncomfortable or I had to adjust them. It was just always comfortable. can't quite comment on your headphone head you're going to have, but, well, that's neither here nor there. We're kind of used to that in our field, are we not? I digress. The clamping force is that really nice Goldilocks zone of its gives just enough clamping force to where you feel secure. You don't feel like it's going to move, which it doesn't. However, it doesn't clamp too tight to where it feels constricting or too tight, I suppose. In choice of the padding, regardless if it was the leather padding or the Alcantara, to me, I feel the Alcantara pad was a little bit firmer. However, either one of which, it's to your own personal choice, whichever one you like more. As I said earlier, I like the Alcantara. Now, moving on to what y'all probably care the most about, and that is the sound. So how do the flagship Empyrean headphones sound? I don't know if you've kept up with me, but over the years, the last 5 years, I have been able to listen to every single model, or most every single model that Meze has, including their 2 IMs that they no longer make, being the 11 Neo and 12 Classics. But I reviewed their 99 Classics, which actually won my Product of the Year in 2016. Their Ripentas, I think earlier or late last year, and then now finally their flagships. Each one of which, every single product they've had has been very impressive to me personally. I have loved every single one, and that continues with the Empyreans. So the soundstage is a very intimate and very personal one. It's not claustrophobic by any stretch of the word. It's just very intimate. It's a very, not romantic, but a very sensual soundstage. It's close to you, but it just kind of envelops you in kind of like a nice hug, which matches its overall very nice and warm tonality. It is so musical to listen to these headphones. So musical, in fact, that it's very hard to critically listen to them. As in, you don't lose any of the detail, but the music that comes through is so just liquid smooth, as tacky as it's going to sound, but the sound that comes through here is just like water. It is so smooth. The transitions from highs to lows to everything in between is just like water. It's never point, sharp dips. Regardless, it's just such a smooth experience that you just sit back and you just enjoy, which is what I personally like in music and audio. Now, to add on to that, the separation is truly worth top tier. It don't matter if you're listening to a very large orchestral piece, such as, I guess it's not a huge on the audiophile community, but I like it. But the Pirates of the Caribbean, that orchestral piece, or if it's Pentatonic's Daft Punk, you hear and you can identify just about every single individual piece. I mean, with respects to how large things get, things are going to start sounding together, but you can very easily identify where certain things are in the ensemble. I mean, and beautifully well. But if I can talk about the more individual aspects, maybe y'all can understand more how these sound. So starting with the treble and then working my way down from there. The treble on the Meze Empyreans, as I said earlier, is just crystalline smooth. It's crystalline liquid, just beautifully smooth. There's so much detail. You get all the energy from whatever you're listening to, from Lindsey Sterling to, and pardon her name here, she'll appear right here, but she's a trumpeter when I reference her. But you get that energy and that excitement from it. However, I can foresee people not liking or not being as much of a fan of the treble as they are with the rest of the piece. And that is because the treble of the Empyreans is very soft. It is a very soft treble. Not to be confused with it being like it rolls off early or just it's a rolled off treble, such as my Oppo PM1s. It's just at levels the rest of your music is comfortable to listen to. You notice your treble's kind of softer, as in you have to turn the level up to get that same level of enjoyment. In that regard, instruments such as trumpets, some violins, but a lot of like the brass instruments is what I noticed the most of. They don't sound quite as true to form or true to them as they would on another piece of equipment. And like, but I can't stress that doesn't take away. It just fits really well into the overall tonality of the Empyreans. Now, moving on to the mids. The mids, oh my, Very rarely can I have a headphone that challenges my love for the mids, for as my Oppo PM1 does, but the Meze Empyreans, objectively speaking, they honestly probably do outbeat the mids on my beloved Oppo PM1s. Doing a direct side-by-side comparison, the mids, or actually just the overall sound of the Empyreans, is much more fuller. I've never would ever consider, and I still don't, the sound of my PM1s to be thin, but when directly compared with the Empyreans, they honestly sound thin because of how full the Empyreans produce the sound. But it don't matter if you're listening to female vocals such as Jane Zhang, I think is her name, or Adele, or if you're listening to male vocals such as Johnny Cash, John Moreland, Trace Atkins, Rag and Bone Man, and the list goes on. It's just the vocals are so true. They're so they have so much body to them. Like, you can tell the raspiness of the voice. You can, and like something like in certain instances like Johnny Cash, you can almost feel that sadness of his music with the song "Hurt." It's just so enveloping. I mean, it is a true experience. Not just, oh no, these are cool to hear. No. These are an experience that I can't really say I've ever had before on a headphone. Which is how musical and just how just you enjoyed what you're listening to, especially in relationship to the mids. Now, if you want more instrumentals, hey, that's fine. Acoustical instruments sound just as beautiful as the vocals do. A great example of this is Last of the Mohicans by Luca Strigagnoli, if I'm saying his name correctly. Wonderful piece. I think that's the only one I listed in my review, but there's several other ones I've listened to over my 2 weeks. But I can keep going on with just how top tier, unbeaten that the mid-range is on the Meze Empyreans, but I think y'all get the idea. Now, moving on to the bass line. So, the bass also very, very reminiscent of my Oppo PM1s, as in very instantaneous and fast attack. Minimal, if any, decay. I want to say probably closer to the if any decay. The bass has great depth to it. However, similar to the PM1s, there's not a whole lot of punch to them. So with that being said, your super bass heavy lovers, or those who want like really powerful and deep bass, you honestly may not find as much enjoyment in these as I think you would other brands. However, such as myself who like more warmer music, and if you're listening to Five Finger Death Punch or Metallica or Disturbed, and then the list goes on, but some heavier music that has some bass notes or some more heavy bass notes, I never felt the need like, man, I wish it went heavier, man, I wish I got more to it. I was very content and satisfied with the level of bass punch that these had. However, I can see some going, man, for $3,000, I want to physically feel that oomph. And very rarely does just a headphone, just because of their driver limitations, how size, can really give that to you in relationship to full-size speakers. But, my friends, that is actually it for my review of the Meze flagship Empyrean headphones. As I hope I've portrayed in this review, the level of just detail and craftsmanship and elegance and just beauty in both their craftsmanship and build as well as their sound. I am truly blown away, and sadly, I have to let those all go on to the next reviewer of the tour. For those of you who are fortunate enough and blessed enough to be able to afford the Empyrean headphones, and you really want to get, and that's the sad part, and that's kind of a negative part about the Empyreans, is that they are very badly plagued with diminishing returns. Though, objectively speaking, they do outbeat my PM1s, as in it is a direct upgrade from my Oppo PM1s to the Meze Empyreans, and you are fortunate enough to be able to afford them, and you want to get that just a little bit more detail, look no further than the Empyreans. if you share the same draw in music as I do, or you like that same sort of tonality, to date, I now have the best of the best from my personal experience and my personal opinion. The Meze Empyrean, for what I like in music, is the new top dog. I will always forever love my Oppo PM1s, but objectively speaking, the Meze Empyreans do best them. And actually, with that being said, it's been a long time since I've had to make the next video you're about to see right after you see this one. But until that one posts or till you watch it, as always, my friends, my name is Army-Firedawg. It has truly, truly been a pleasure. And if you have any questions before I head out, please let me know in the comments down below. I do look forward and I love hearing from you. But until then, my friends, stay safe.